coming at you through technology one more time. Today I want to continue with this series of self-disclosures and going to the heart of the matter each time. So I'm going to try reading this. And what I'm ashamed of now is my ongoing marijuana abuse problem. I know, it's ridiculous to be making a video about this. What I need to do is just stop with the smoking. That's what a doctor told me a long time ago. If you're going to use marijuana, that's fine, but just don't smoke it. By now, it's hurting my throat. How stupid do I have to be? Now, doctors. Eh? The answer for me is really, really deep somehow. Because anyone who knows me, has known me for a long time, knows me. Complaining of having this habit, it's a limitation on me. And I got to get to the bottom of it. So, as I delve into this, I had the feeling today about stopping, really, really stopping. And there's this intense and huge shame and dread of something that will consume me if I don't smoke. If I don't smoke weed, something that comes up for me is intense shame and dread of not being able to have that out when I want it, or need it, or whatever. At this point, I don't understand this. I just want to notice that I have these really strong feelings when I really think about not using. So that's something. So in this cognitive behavioral therapy and timeless wisdom, we look at what are we thinking, what's coming up, and what's coming up in our bodies. And it's a process of excavation, archaeology. I'm not proud of acting insanely. I know it's insane. I'm participating in the insanity of this planet through my own insanity in my own life. Is really one way to look at it. A true facet, I think. My insanity is part of this global insanity. And it's going to kill me, and I'm going to suffer if I don't get on with it. So I'm getting on with it. So I want to share this. I'm not alone. Why do I want to share this? Well, I know I'm not alone. And for example, here in Charles Dickens, from the 19th century, 1859, A Tale of Two Cities. Dickens is talking about his character. I forget his name. He's in Paris, I think. And he's just given up. And Dickens writes, sadly, the sun rose. It rose upon no sadder sight than the man of good abilities and good emotions, incapable of directing them, incapable of his own health, his own help, and his own happiness. And resigning himself to let it eat him away. So sad, eh? So sad. I'm so close. Oh my gosh. I'm so close to that moment myself. And obviously I'm not alone. So I'm just going to go on with this disclosure in the hope that anyone can draw any benefit from me telling how this is. So bizarrely, I've been that man recently. The smoking is physically hurting me by now. Today, I remembered. I know the basics of CBT. I know the basics of cognitive behavioral therapy. I've done it before. It means looking at our thinking patterns around our issue and getting clear, for example, one part, getting clear about the habits and beliefs around our addiction. What are we believing about our use? When are we doing it? What's going on when we're doing it? What's the bigger picture? It's taking charge of our own thinking process around our addiction. In Alberta, I had attended a CBT group, not a 12-step group. There's some similarities and there's some important differences. I was going to this group, and there's a set of questions you use to reflect on the things you need to look at. At that CBT group in Alberta, they had a paper pack printed that we could buy, I think. And then you would bring that pad of paper to the group and talk about these details of where and when and all these other questions that they have. There are certain questions, helpful questions to ask. So anyway, over here in Asia or in Thailand, I see none of these groups, but I see a lot of therapists and therapy teams. And I'm looking on Google, and it's come up on Google, and then I see someone on Google says, "Why are CBT therapists so expensive?" And I'm thinking, yeah, no, CBT is definitely a do-it-yourself thing, but you need other people involved. Anyway, according to them, professionalizing it, putting into the realm of professionals and so-called experts. There's no professional in my life. That's not even a thing, a professional in my life. No, it's not even about that. It's about my own fate, facing my own fate and making my own destiny in my own incredibly limited way, and just trying to go forward with that in the best way. Anyway, so I thought, okay, I'll go to the CBT group. I did go to the 12-step group here in Thailand, and it wasn't convenient and it wasn't quite suitable, and I think the timing wasn't quite right, and I was looking for a CBT group, not a 12-step group. So I won't pay for a therapist. I'm not paying for a CBT therapist because I can access the questions on the internet and publish my answers here on this channel and move forward on my own and on the internet. No one knows you're a dog, right? Oh, not because I want to, but because I have to. Hopefully, soon I will want to. I want to quit. But right now I don't want to quit. I just know I have to. I can only see the loss, not the gain. So that's what we need to do. Weigh up the gains and losses around these habits and get really clear. Like in my case, smoking weed, is it worth the effort and expense and other downsides, including physical harm doing to my own body? Is it really worth it? And an important part of this is going to be, what do I get out of it? What is my gain? There is a gain. For sure there's a gain. And in nonviolent communication, Marshal Rosenberg would say that the gain is to meet some needs that I have that are otherwise not getting met. Because none of us is doing anything without trying to get some needs met. So I'm not clear about that right now. Like today, I don't know, really. I don't know what's going on with me and my habit. CBT is very simple. So that was NVC, nonviolent communication. CBT is very simple, but this world doesn't want us to know how to love ourselves. Right? The world doesn't want us to know how to love ourselves and how to save ourselves. Whatever that means. If that means praying, then yeah, it's still saving ourselves, doing our part. Meanwhile, there's a lot of moralizing and posturing and virtue signaling around what we should be doing with ourselves and what we should be avoiding. Moralizing, posturing, and virtue signaling. We want to be perceived to be good, or we want to perceive being seen as sane even, I guess, and to hold up a narrative of sanity. We can use moralizing, like, oh, I'm doing the right thing. I'm a good person. Look, everybody, I'm a good person. Even to ourselves. Look, self, I'm a good person. I have a good excuse for my behavior. And see, now, if I call it an excuse, then that becomes more moralizing to myself. And that's some kind of posturing, because if I'm only talking to myself, I don't need to bullshit myself, right? So the most basic and powerful truths about addiction are these. As Gautama Buddha said, if we are attached, especially to something bad, we're going to suffer. There's no moralizing necessary. I don't need to think of myself as a good person or a bad person. If I'm going to do something and then I'm going to suffer as a result. It's not about good or bad. There's simply a question of acting or refraining from acting today to avoid pain tomorrow. It's not trying to be a good person. It's trying to avoid pain. That's what I want to do. Strangely, though, it's often more challenging, or it seems to be very challenging. It's almost like if you're hurtling down the hillside on a toboggan on a snowy path on a January afternoon, and you're going way too fast down the slope of the hill on the ravine, and you could easily hurtle off and hit a tree, or you could go off the path and hit a tree or a post. And you're on that toboggan and you're hurtling down. You're flying down the hill and you could roll off. But isn't there something exhilarating in the death wish? It is kind of the death wish. You have a death wish, even though the death wish seems to be an illusion, or at least to say that, we can say life doesn't continue, but we don't know that any more than we know it does continue after what we call death. It's just as likely that something does continue, isn't it? We don't really know either way, so it must be just as likely. And there is an aspect to this of looking into the future, living in the future somehow, and living in the past. Anyway, I'm going to go on. How am I doing for time? So also, I want to say, Swami Sri Yukteswar in the book by Yogananda, Autobiography of a Yogi, Swami Sri Yukteswar says that when we're attached to something or someone or someplace or whatever, then in our minds we make it more desirable than it really is. Like for me, having a toque, what do I really get out of it? I really get a little buzz, an altered state for an hour and a half. And in that altered state, I feel what? More relaxed? More liberated? More capable? More motivated? More stimulated? So that, by the way, is called doing my CBT homework. Those are my needs, I would say. Ultimately, it's the story that we're really attached to. It's not the thing or the activity. I don't quite get that at the moment, or I kind of get it, but I seem to also forget this. I seem to get it, but I also want to forget it or just forget it. Now, speaking about marijuana in particular, a shaman once told me that although many plants are valued and even honored among the native people in the Amazon, marijuana is not one of those plants that's held in high regard. And that the spirit of the marijuana plant is not happy with humanity either. And that the actual high from marijuana is a trick, like an illusion, kind of a trick almost from the spirit of the marijuana plant, which is not a happy spirit. That's my memory of what he said, and I think he meant that it's not happy, or he might have meant that. Anyway, that there is a spirit of the marijuana plant as well as there is of the tobacco plant and the wheat plant. Every plant having a spirit, I guess. And this was in the context of plant medicines in the Amazon jungle. Ayahuasca being the main one. And Gabor Mate bringing people to Peru and doing ayahuasca with them to help them heal from addiction. And I've done ayahuasca a number of times. And it has seemed like a way to address the marijuana, because I'm clear that marijuana and ayahuasca don't go together. But either way, there's a plant spirit involved. So do I want to be allied with the plant spirit of the marijuana, which is, it seems, a troubled spirit? I said here, the shaman, described marijuana more as a jilted, cynical, manipulative seductress or mistress who promises the world but really has nothing except our own power. She feeds back to us with the illusion that it is coming from her. That's my new story about marijuana. No, it's not, but I heard that said, and I've had that thought. I don't know if it's true exactly. But tomorrow, tomorrow being now, I need to reflect on the cost-benefit ratio regarding the addictive patterns and other basic journaling activities from CBT. Getting clear is on my bucket list. Take it off the fuck it list and put it on the bucket list. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm going to get a ukulele again soon here too. Thanks for listening.